Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined by a returning guest, storyteller Kona Morris.
Hello. So glad to be here.
Welcome back, Kona. It's good to see you. Yeah, you said you have some sort of relationship metaphor I'm excited about.
Oh, we're just diving right in.
Or sure, do you have other update you want to share?
Well, we do have a relationship episode here. So it's exciting stuff.
Relationship troubles, all kinds of goodies. STDs, sending flowers, all the hits.
Big hits.
Big hits.
Flowers and STDs. What makes a relationship other
That's
than
really all you
flowers
need.
and STDs?
It's flowers and STDs. Babies are an STD. I hate when people do that joke. It's like, okay. Yeah, that's really funny. It was funny 10 years ago when I heard it.
Not funny anymore.
It's kind of run its course.
Okay. Sure. I'll tell you this little story if you want to hear. So when I was 24 years old, I had been in a relationship for 5 years, thought we were going to be together forever.
Classic. One of the classic blunders.
Classic blunder. I also had a baby with the guy.
Little baby.
Which was pretty wild.
Baby.
Pregnant at 21. So here I am, 24 years old, newly single mother of a 2-year-old. Actually, not quite single yet. We were still trying to figure it out.
Still figuring it out.
I had gone down to California. Baby daddy was still up in Alaska. And we just could not have a conversation on the phone. Every conversation we had ended with him getting frustrated, saying, come back to Alaska, and me saying, I want to go back to school.
I still laugh every time you mention Alaska, just because it's like, never have I heard anybody talk about Alaska.
Really?
The only
fictional place.
Play Alaska I ever got in my entire life was people would go on an Alaskan cruise, which was like 7 days where they ate like pigs and saw a whale.
Wow.
Anyway.
I mean, turns out real people live there.
9.
And
9 people.
4-to-1 men to woman ratio.
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, fuck yes.
So it's literally 8 guys and 1 chick, and you were the chick. That's okay. So you were talking on the phone, and then he was just like, "Come to Alaska."
He was like, "Come back to Alaska." I was like, "Come down to California," and we just could not see eye to eye. I was on
very different places.
Yeah, very different places, but we had just reached this point. And even before I left Alaska, it felt like every time we talked, we were just like butting heads. Like he would not understand me and I was not understanding him, and we were just not on the same page. And it was so frustrating because I refused to have an unhappy household, a fighting household for my kid. I was like, I would rather have 2 happy households than one that my kid has to see us fighting. I didn't want that.
Fair.
So I, in this, just final effort, I had went down to California to visit my family. I was like, okay, we need at least a breather.
Okay.
We need a breather. So I'm on the breather, put my kid down for a nap at my dad's, and I'm going for a walk past my old high school. And I run into my old high school history teacher, the coolest guy in the world, Paul Bersu, old hippie. He always wore tie-dye, big fro.
Okay.
And he's like, Morris, how you doing?
Okay.
And it was one of those moments where I just couldn't do the fake, oh, I'm great. Because I was not great.
Yeah.
I was not at all great. And I was like, to be honest, I'm not sure what I'm doing and what's going to happen. And I'm in a bit of a stump at the moment. So then he asked me if he can buy me a beer. He was like, I always wanted to buy the coolest, my favorite students a beer and a taco later in life. So let's go have a beer and a taco. So we do. And we're sitting there and I tell him everything. I'm like, I've been with this guy for 5 years, thought we were going to be together forever, had a baby, and now I don't know what's happening. And I'm maybe going to be a single mom at 24, halfway through undergrad. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Damn.
Yeah, rough spot. So he says, all right, can I give you a bit of advice? Please, I need it.
A man asking for permission to give advice. I like him already.
Yeah, real sweetheart. So he says, okay, so a relationship is like an apartment building.
Building.
Yes, exactly. You meet somebody and at first it's just all perfect and you're just floating up through that whole first floor, just high on love. And you just feel so good. but inevitably at some point you're going to hit a ceiling.
Yeah.
And
I like a ceiling in my apartment personally.
And he's like, you hit the ceiling because it's actually going to feel like you're hitting your head up against a wall, usually around communication. And immediately I was like, that's exactly how it feels. It feels like we just don't hear each other. And he's like, all right, here's the good news. You are way too smart to live the rest of your life hitting your head up against the ceiling. So one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to figure out how to break through together, in which case you get to start all over again on that second floor until you find your next ceiling. But it's going to be glorious again. You're going to feel like suddenly you understand each other. Or you don't break through together, but because you're too smart to be spending the rest of your life hitting your head up against the ceiling, you're going to break through anyway. And what that means is the next relationship you're in, you get to have a new ground floor. You've already done that. You don't have to repeat that floor. You're going to have a new standard for what your base communication is, and you're going to break through regardless. And it just made me feel so much better. It made me feel like...
he doesn't know, though. You can definitely fall down to the first floor because you created a hole when you came up.
So you're saying you can fall back?
And then there's like basement access because they got to do maintenance. I'd definitely fall into that. But I love it.
I mean, I don't think that, I don't think you actually broke through if you're falling back down. I think it's like instant repair. I think you break through and then it's just like repairs
situations.
the
I mean, but yeah, I think if you're reflective and, COVID happens, can maybe create a boost. Well, that was a bit of a basement inducing situation. But yeah, ideally, right? I mean, not everybody learns from their mistakes.
That's true.
And sometimes we don't learn from them right away.
That is true.
You never followed a toxic relationship with a more toxic one? Because I have.
Yeah, no, I've definitely had toxic relationships following healthier relationships, but they haven't lasted as long. I feel like incrementally it's getting better and better,
Yeah, I think so. I like it. It's a beautiful little metaphor. Yeah, I think, I always think about like breaking up is so painful. And I think this captures that people literally will spend their entire life hitting their head on that ceiling.
Just to not have to get out of the room.
Yeah, because breaking up is unconscionably painful. I mean, it's like, it's similar to a parent abandoning their child because that bond is so intense. The bond with your primary partner is so intense.
And the comfort, that's one of the things I'm always reading in Buddhist books is that like it's the human tendency to not want discomfort is so strong that we just will stay in situations that are not good for us out of fear of the unknown, fear of making it worse, fear of change. Yeah.
Stable. I mean, that's when I reflected on relationships. I thought, that was a stable nightmare, but it was stable.
Yeah.
It wasn't working, but it was stable. It wasn't chaotic. And I think some people are willing to stay in that because the world is scary out there.
Well, the compromising. So that's a really important part of this, right? With relationships is how much, and it's been one of my fears of getting into a new relationship. I've been more or less single for 5 years now.
Wow.
And a big part of that is just this, like, do I like somebody enough to actually like put myself in a situation I might need to get out of? And usually the answer is, I can see the end. So why would I start? There was a little exception in the 5 years, but it was, for the most part, it was just like, if I can already see the end of this, why would I put myself in a situation that I'm going to have to get out of? And it's one of my best friend's grandma used to say, it takes a hell of a man to beat having no man at all.
That's good. I've never heard that. I think the listeners are going to like that.
Yeah. And there's something, I've spent the last few years just like taking care of myself in a way that I never have before. And it feels significant, and it feels like the next relationship will be leveled up because of that.
That's exciting. Well, that's great advice. I guess on a lighter note, I ended a relationship, and I present this with a heavy heart, but I just dumped my 2021 Camry Hybrid. I'm car free.
Wow. Wow.
Living that car-free life, guys. I'm monogamous with my one wheels now. I previously said they were my daughters, so that's weird, but it's just me and my kids, I guess. I'm a single dad.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, a relationship with a car is like a relationship with a person, because even though it was a great car, the that actually, I think there is some truth to this. If I can build my own little metaphor. Yeah, I love that car. It was a great car. I had no issues with the vehicle, but I had to move it because of street sweeping. So then I could have got a parking spot, but that would have cost at least $100 a month, probably 200 for one that was like reasonably close to my apartment. I had to go to and fro. Traffic is a huge issue. And like, you know, then when I would get anxious whenever I flew, because I had to leave my car somewhere. So I found like a place I could put it. Like, God, I have a car on the street. Like somebody could just destroy my car. Oh, it's been there. It's been there a week. Nobody's touched it. Let's break into it, steal a catalyst. I feel lucky that I did it. And so I guess what I would say is that I think what's true about me and my Camry hybrid is true about relationships, is that I think they are ecosystems, and that's a component of it. Is not, I think so many people, I think this speaks to, what was that, your grandma who said that?
my friend's grandma, but yeah.
Your friend's grandma said, because so many people are just looking for someone. And so they don't have the ability. I mean, I've been here a million times. I don't have the ability to discern, like, is this relationship going to work on all these levels? Because I'm just so happy that I found someone. And I'm excited, and it sounds like you're in a similar place, because I'm like, I genuinely don't need someone, and I want someone who can fit into my life and add to my life in this multifaceted way.
Yeah.
Not just the Camry hybrid, which I enjoy being inside. I regret that, but it happened. I want to enjoy every part of my life. You know,
Yeah.
Are they going to be down to go to my comedy show or whatever? Or are they better like the fucking podcast? Like, this is part of this is who I am. This is the whole thing.
Can you connect in all the ways? Physically, mentally, emotionally. What I want in my life right now is something that, like, if it's not undeniable, I don't want it. If it's not undeniable, like, I have to try this. And the thing is if you're questioning it at all, if you're like, well, maybe it'll be good, you know, maybe I can ignore that, then it's not undeniable.
I think so. I mean, I think if there's things where I'm unsure, I've been just like, slow down then. What's the big rush? If there's that much chemistry and there's a magnetic pull there, it will eventually come together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I like the metaphor of the car, because I also think that it gets to how much change we're talking about. Like, when you're in a relationship, it is all encompassing. You are entirely inside of it.
Right.
And have to maintain it and all of these things. And so I guess, how do you feel now that you're footloose and one wheel free?
Well, I've been a little bit like some regret around it, because obviously it's been on my mind, because it is such a crazy thing, and I've been telling people, whereas like normally in conversation I wouldn't be like, I have a car parked around the corner. Like, I don't bring it up. Why would I bring it up?
Oh, you have a car. I mean, I've heard you talk about the Toyota
2021 Camry hybrid. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a bit on the show, but like I wouldn't in normal conversation really bring it up. I mean, for a while I did when I first got it, but yeah, so it's like, I'm like, yeah, it's on my mind, because I don't have it now, and that's kind of crazy. But overall, I mean, I kind of practiced up to this. Like, I really was like, can I take my one wheel to the beach? I can.
Having no car in LA it's bold.
It's bold.
It's very bold.
It honestly feels like an act of rebellion.
What's going to happen? Like, how do you imagine going on a date? Like, say you meet a girl who's in Century City.
Already did it. Ubered. Just Ubered.
Uber date.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll Uber there. I'll meet you there.
Okay.
You know, if she says, oh, I'm in far away neighborhood, guess we're not dating. That sucks for you, bro.
I don't do long distance.
I don't do long distance. No, I mean, that's it. I think like I guess this goes into the same. I mean, life is an ecosystem too. I'm like, I don't really, if I really like someone and there's a really strong pull, then there's a really strong pull, and I'll figure out a way. I mean, that's the other thing I realized. I was like, look, if I have to get another car, I'll just get another car. But right now I don't see any reason to have it, you know? So anybody who's worth it it'll be figured out.
Yeah.
But if somebody's like, I'm not dating a guy without a car, I'd be like, all right, well.
I mean, it's a good way to weed away people who aren't worthy, you know, like who are materialistic,
Yeah,
maybe.
true.
Although I did date the guy that I dated for 5 months within the 5 years, didn't have a car.
Yeah.
And it was a little annoying to always be the one to pick up and
Well, but he's making you pick him up. Nobody has to pick me up.
That's true.
And I do the reverse. People will be like, you one-wheeled here? I'll give you a ride home. And I'm like, no, you won't. I don't want to ride in your car. I'm going to one-wheel home. It's going to be awesome.
yeah, there you go. Pride will save you, Danny.
No, but it's like, I don't want to, I like it. I actually enjoy it. I mean, it's fine. And night is challenging and night is hard.
Should we do a poll? I feel like there can be a poll on the podcast for like how many women would be willing to date a man with no car.
I mean, the thing is in LA, it's cusp. Like, I think I'm fringy. For sure. But it's not completely crazy. But like in Phoenix, Arizona, get the fuck out of town. You can't one wheel from place to place. Like, that's insane. Like the average distance. I mean, what's the farthest distance realistically people would do, right? We go from like people like us who live on the hipster side would go to the beach. That's 18 miles. I mean, that's like not that far.
It's not that far. I mean, it's probably more enjoyable to one wheel than have the traffic, honestly.
That's what I'm saying, Kona. That's what I'm saying. And I saw a video of a couple on a one wheel, so like it's doable. It's
on
so
one wheel or
dangerous.
on two one wheels?
On one wheel, you basically stand crotch to crotch. I mean, it's crazily dangerous.
How big? Yeah, that sounds...
No, of course it's not. I mean,
your size one wheel?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, yeah. I mean, the weight limit's 250 and I weigh 150, so she needs to be
a buck.
I mean, it could go to 300. Anyway, we're going to do some relationship situations. AITA for telling a friend about another friend's STD. That one's going to get interesting for me because I don't know. I have mixed feelings. But first, folks, AITA for laughing at my sister's relationship troubles. I, 28F, have a younger sister, Emily, 25F, who was with her high school sweetheart, Corey, since she was 14. They dated all through high school and college. And honestly, they were the perfect couple. Shut up. Corey was always thoughtful. He'd surprise her with gifts, plan elaborate dates, and he lit up whenever she was around. They even talked about getting married. A few months ago, Emily cheated on Corey.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
On Corey?
On freaking Corey. They were perfect. And broke up with him to be with her affair partner, Mark.
Oh my God.
Since then, she's been complaining to me about how Mark doesn't do any of the romantic things Corey
Emily,
did.
Come on.
He broke up with Corey. Apparently, he doesn't surprise her with gifts, and their dates are lackluster compared to Corey. Last week, while I was on the phone with her, she started venting about how she feels unsatisfied in her new ship. I don't know what came over me, but I burst out laughing. I mean, she cheated on the guy who worshiped the ground she walked on. And now she's complaining about the new guy not measuring up. It sounded so absurd. Emily got really upset and told me I was being insensitive. I tried to explain that I wasn't laughing at her pain, but it felt like poetic justice given how she treated Corey.
But I just love this. I'm not laughing at your pain. It's just really entertaining.
My favorite.
It's just so entertaining.
But I'm not laughing at you.
We're laughing together, right?
Now she's barely talking to me and I'm starting to feel bad. AITA for laughing at my sister's relationship troubles when she cheated on someone who treated her like a queen.
Damn, Emily, you in a tight spot, my lady. Wow. I mean, okay, but I do have a little empathy for her. So she was 14 when they got together.
Emily was with her high school sweetheart, Corey, since she was 14.
14 years old.
And she's 25, so that's 11 years.
Yeah, girls got to see what else is out there. Like, Corey.
I agree.
If you still love this woman, I think you could forgive her for needing to just have some experience outside of you. It's a hard thing to try to do.
She did Corey dirty though, Kona. I wouldn't tell Corey that.
She did not need to cheat on him.
If Corey feels how he feels, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, you're right. If she had brokered this in a way where she's like, look, we've been together. I feel restless.
Yeah.
I feel like I just need to play the field a little more. I'm not ready to settle down for the rest of my life.
What is it? The Quakers that do what's it called? The year that you get to go do whatever the hell you want.
I think the Amish do that.
The Amish, not the Quakers. Yeah. So, and there's a great word for it.
Gap year, for sure, is it?
The gap year.
That Amish gap year.
So, but I feel like she should have brokered a gap year.
I think so. I think this could have been done in a way where like it would have been hurtful. It was going to hurt no matter what, but cheating was shitty and
Cheating
like
is
not
always
self-aware,
shitty.
not fair to Corey.
Yeah.
I will say though, I think like, look, these are really young people, and to be 25 and do a dumb fucking thing, I'm like, yeah, you suck, but like, I kind of get it. I feel like this is a norm, especially if they're in a small town. A lot of people get married really young and there's pressure even. So I can give, there's sort of systemic factors here that would, I think, kind of push her into like, you know, feeling like she was stuck with Corey, and maybe someone was like, well, those, you know, like there's a lot of moralizing on that note. Like, oh, well, you like some other guy, you're dirty for that. You know what I mean?
So she was trying to keep it a little dirty secret.
Yeah. And that she didn't have anyone be like, well, maybe the fact that you are having thoughts about Mark is because you never played the field. And so there's this uncertainty. You're actually not able to realize how good Corey is.
We wouldn't have light if we didn't have dark. And
there we go.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there were mistakes made for sure. You should never cheat, always talk, always give I mean, if it's so bad that you're about to just burn the whole fucking thing down, you might as well give Corey the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, can you handle this conversation? Because I feel like I need a gap year. And, you know, and we come back together. I wish I knew the word for it. It's a great word. But and we both have the year to go sow our oats, see what's out there. Yeah. And then we meet together the top of the Empire State Building.
There we go.
1 year from today and decide whether or not we want to be together or whether or not we don't show up.
Yeah.
But, you know, so she didn't do that. We have to move past the lack of foresight on Emily's part. But there's another thing here, Danny.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
She's not stuck with Mark.
No, she needs to end it with Mark.
She needs to get the fuck out with Mark.
She learned how good Corey is. I mean, the thing is too, like, you know, this is kind of what we're talking about. Like, oh, this is the perfect guy. Perfect, quote unquote, right? What does he do? Surprise her with gifts, plan elaborate dates, and he lit up whenever she was around. Treated her like a queen. Now that sounds good, but I actually think that's maybe a little bit shallow of an idea.
Sure.
Of what a relationship is. Now that might be good enough for some people. I understand that. But like, for instance, I think you and I were creative people, we're artistic people. For me, like, I also probably just want someone who I can connect with on a creative and artistic note. Like, that's just, if they're like, oh, movies are just, you know, they're just what they are. Look up the plot summary. That's what a movie is. I'd be like, okay, well, I don't know if I could love you.
So maybe Corey wasn't, the truth is that Corey wasn't fully fulfilling Emily.
Exactly.
And I mean, and it's, the imbalance isn't great, you know, to have somebody like, I don't know if I'm sure you've experienced this, where like somebody's the puppy dog. And it often seems that way in a relationship where there's somebody who wants the other person more, you know, and so there's this imbalance. And then, you know, maybe your next relationship, you want that person more, and then you get to feel what it's like. And I think it's rare when you meet somebody and you want each other equal.
I actually read a study about this, and it's haunted me.
A study.
It was a study.
Okay.
I don't know all the science facts, but
did you know 99% of all statistics are made up?
On the spot, even. The study said that relationships were more successful when the man wanted her more than she wanted him, not vice versa. And that kind of added up to me.
Okay.
I do think this whole queen thing, princess thing, I think there can be an element of this which is ridiculous, but I think there is. I think that's part of it, because I think, I don't know, you said something earlier that prompted this thought of just like, I think a lot of women, I'm sorry to gender it up, but you know what? We're in it. A lot of women, I think, are more naturally giving and give too much to a relationship. And I think, Matt, that was when I read the study, that the idea to me was like, that would be counterbalanced by a man who was just a little bit more into her than she was into him.
Okay.
So it kind of rung true with me. Makes
it a little even playing field, because she's going to give more anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that the relationship, if he's so crazy about her, if he's her freaking Corey, then she'll naturally kind of contribute enough just because women are better people. You know?
I mean, that's Sounds like it checks out.
Right? I thought it rung true. It rung true with me.
I mean, women also, you know, whether or not it's biological, whether or not it's cultural, women, I think we're ingrained to want to be wanted, that like to need to be desired.
Sure.
You know, it's like, I mean, maybe it's because we're brought up to believe that our value is in how desirable
Absolutely.
we are. Which, you know, who knows, a few generations from now, maybe that will be gone from the culture. But for now, anyway, I think most women feel a need to be desired and wanted. And so the relationship's going to be happier if a man does that often and doesn't seem ambivalent.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm curious because I kind of feel this way where I'm like, you know, am I drawn? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'll ask myself, like, am I drawn to this person? Am I legitimately drawn to pursuing this person? And sometimes I ask myself that question and I'm like, not really. Like, not really. I don't have, and I feel like pretty good about right now. I'm like, I don't have a hole to fill.
That's great.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
But I think it, and I'm curious how you feel, because I'm like, you know what? If I meet a girl that's great enough, I will chase her. I will, because I'll know that I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, that maturity is kind of, I think women, some women at least, want to be chased a little.
And I think that it is such a big difference when guys play the fucking game of like pretending not to be that interested, or what happens so often is a man is like wanting to get to know you as a friend. Like, oh, let's just have coffee as a friend. And it's so much hotter and sexier and better when a man is like, you're hot. Can I take you on a date?
Really? Okay. That's good.
Oh my God.
I like that.
Instead of the like, you know, you don't know if they really like you. Do you really like them? Like, I mean,
that's good. I might apply that.
Case by case basis always trumps everything. But I remember a couple years ago, there was somebody I was talking to, and it was just sort of like, it was just unclear whether or not he was that into me, whether or not we were just going to be friends, what was going to happen. It was just very like gray area. You know, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then I met this guy at a film festival, and he immediately was like, you're gorgeous. I want to take you on a date. And it was just like, gorgeous. Okay. Like it feels better.
You were cool with gorgeous there.
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, usually women seem to not like it if you just be like, you're hot.
They'd rather say you're hot.
You're hot. No, I mean, but it's like, I don't know. I guess, okay, this is
I like tits.
Oh yeah, obviously to go that way. But like, yeah, I don't know. You wouldn't be like, oh, you're being shallow, bro. Like,
no, but it wasn't just physical. I mean, like, we had talked a lot.
Okay, so there was a good connection.
There was totally a connection. And the fact that he just came right out and was like, I'm interested. It's more
so he kind of earned being able to be like, you're gorgeous.
Yeah, but it was way more about like, regardless of the actual terminology, just saying, I'm interested.
Yeah. Clearly communicating.
Would you like, and I think that, you know, it's another thing that we're probably raised to do is play these games, right? Of like, don't really show your interest, or wait 3 days to text, or, you know, whatever it is.
Right. And game players attract game players. Right. Yeah. You know, and I mean, whatever, there's a part of life for that, and that's okay. And I actually think that kind of fits into the Emily picture here, because now she finds herself with someone who is a little bit emotionally unavailable. And in her defense, she's like kind of not used to that. And that was probably very attractive to her, because Corey's always like, babe, hi, good to see you.
Yeah.
And then Mark's
and
like,
it gets boring.
What's up? I'm playing Xbox. You can just sit down. I'll be with you when I'm done with this round or 3.
And she wanted some strange.
Yeah.
I mean,
Existence Raisin writes, NTA, she destroyed a near perfect relationship to be with someone who barely cares. She brought this upon herself. It sounds like poetic justice. I had to dig for this. Mild YTA. It was rude, and you know it. Sister stuck her own head in a beehive and wonders why she got stung. Too bad she didn't realize what a keeper she had. I don't really agree with that.
No, I don't agree with any of these, just because it's so final. It's also like, she's not married to Mark. She doesn't have to stay with Mark. She's young as hell, and she gets to explore. And, you know, if she has something real with Corey, like if there is something that can be salvaged there, if she comes to him and says, look, I made the worst mistake of my life.
Yeah.
I understand now. I know what was happening with me. I'd been with you my whole life. I'd never experienced anything else. It was awful for me to cheat. I can't believe I did that to you. I want a more mature relationship and I want it with you.
I'd be like, beg me for a year.
Yeah.
You know?
Blowjobs for a year.
I mean, and this kind of goes to what we were just saying. Yeah, I don't know about blowjobs for a year.
I'm just kidding.
But like, yeah, how hard are you willing to chase?
Yeah.
Because if you're really willing to chase and show the fuck up, then maybe we'll talk. But you did me fucking dirty.
Yeah, she did Corey dirty. There's no denying that.
There's no denying that. I will say, so was it okay to laugh? I do think so. I think that was an honest reaction. That said, I think as the older sister here, I do feel like she could be like, I'm sorry I laughed. Because it is a little bit of a slap in the face. And this is a younger girl. I mean, you know, and she's younger. She's also, this is her first fucking relationship.
Yeah.
Like, cut her a little slack. I do think the laugh is an honest reaction. I'm not dinging there. But I do think OP could really step up and be like, hey, like, why don't we talk about maybe some of the reasons that you felt compelled to do this and like why this went down and help be a little bit of a loving mirror for her so that she can learn and grow from this experience.
Yeah. And I think Big Sis needs to also tell Emily, you don't have to stay with Mark. Just because you made a mistake, just because you got with this guy, you're not stuck with him. You don't have to be with him for 11 years.
Mark.
Like, yeah.
Mark's a waste of time.
Mark's a waste of time. And maybe you just need to spend some time working on yourself and spend some time single.
Get a one wheel. AITA for laughing at my sister's relationship troubles. I think we're aligned. I think it's, well, NTA and she is for what she did to Corey.
I mean, I think Emily's an asshole for what she did to Corey.
Yes.
For sure. I think.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. AITA for laughing at my sister's relationship troubles.
It's the sister that we're questioning.
NTA and Emily is.
Yes, correct.
All right, folks. Here is Kona.
AITA for telling a friend about another friend's STD.
Whoa, sex.
We're getting dark here. Okay, so I have this buddy who's been getting pretty flirty with this girl I know. When I first met her, we became really good friends. Lately, not so much. But that's just a matter of different lifestyles. I don't have anything against her. When she and I were close, she told me that her ex had given her herpes. So, like I said, her and my buddy have been getting pretty flirty, and my gut was telling me that I should give him a heads up about it. I mean, I know it's her personal business, but that shit is for life, yo. I'm guessing he brought it up with her because she just sent me a text telling me to never talk to or about her again.
This goes, I mean, this goes to something that I find difficult to work around, which is he was reporting, he was just telling the truth. And it's very difficult for me to ding on that note, but I don't have an STD and I understand. And herpes is a disease of stigma. It really is. I mean,
everybody wants to avoid it if they can.
Yeah, everyone wants to avoid it. But in other words, that it's not, okay. I mean, let's just say it was a much more serious disease, like, you know, AIDS. That's not a disease of stigma. That's very serious.
Oh, you're saying, yeah, it's treatable and all those things.
Yeah, well, herpes is nothing. I mean, herpes is a joke.
Most people have been exposed to it.
We all have herpes. I mean, everyone has herpes, mouth herpes 1 or whatever. And then, you know, then genital herpes is like, in very rare cases, is it even like notable?
I think that he could have been, I think there's a way to do both. I think there's a way to like not completely throw her under the bus and not give her the opportunity. For all he knows, she was going to tell him. He didn't give her any benefit of the doubt. He just robbed her the ability to tell this guy. But what he could have said to give his buddy a heads up was something like, are you guys gonna, are you banging? Are you going to bang? If so, might want to wrap that shit up.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I don't know.
I don't know that changes it though. If then he goes, why you say that?
Yeah. Or are you, like
reasons? It's like, well,
are you into condoms, bro? Like, or you guys go bareback?
Yeah.
Like, how do we get this conversation?
I mean, I'm understanding why she is upset because she seems like an honest person who does the right thing and informs her partners.
What makes you think that?
But she told him, right?
Oh, yeah.
She told him. I guess for me, I'm thinking, I guess when the fact that this is a woman, I'm like, yeah, I feel like, but I just feel like there are probably bros. I mean, look, every woman got it from a fucking man. So I guess that's where I'm getting this from. But I just like, yeah, if one of my guy friends told me he had herpes and one of my girlfriends was sleeping with him, I'd be like, heads up, here's a herpes fact.
I mean, I agree. It's a really tricky one. It's a tricky situation.
It's tricky. I'm struggling.
It is. I'm struggling too because on the one hand,
I feel like he did nothing wrong.
You want to protect your friend. But on the other hand, think of it in terms of like, for whatever reason, I think of like coming out of the closet. Like, do you out somebody or do you let them come out themselves? That's not harmful
to anyone.
No, but
it's not dangerous.
But the question is, okay, so in the scenario that his buddy and this girl could have something real, right? They have something really wonderful. I mean, he doesn't give her the benefit of the doubt at all that she would have told him or that she would have been responsible about it. Like,
yeah, he does not. And I'm like, well, she told you, she let you know.
So she's probably going to tell him.
She's probably going to tell him.
But maybe they were not even close to sleeping together yet. So now, instead of like letting it naturally build to the point where she would comfortably tell him before they have sex, he's like, ew, I don't even want to go there. Which sucks because a lot of people do have herpes and it's not that big of a deal.
April Ludgate writes, YTA, that information is not for you to share. You don't know if she was even planning on having sex with him. It was none of your business. Now that does speak to me because I'm like, okay, then you shared irrelevant information, right? Because if they were never going to sleep together, then I'm like, okay, well, that is kind of messed up. You disclosed something. You violated interpersonal HIPAA when really that was never even at stake. And that's missing the mark. But do I think he missed the mark? It kind of sounds like I should give him a heads up about it.
I mean, let's put ourselves in the situation of like, we're dating somebody and a friend of ours tells us, I mean, like, I'm going to be happy. I want to avoid STDs. And, if my friend calls me up and says, this guy you're talking to, he's got an STD. He's got herpes on his junk. I guess I'm going to be relieved. Like, I'm going to want to know that.
And then if the person told you,
but would it deter me from continuing to date? Yeah.
I understand how she feels because I do agree that it's her secret to tell.
100%.
But I guess I'm trying to think of something that I have, like something that's wrong with me or like something I wouldn't want.
Too bad there's nothing wrong with you, Danny.
I mean, nothing. I thought I had an STD. It turns out I didn't. That was a good relief.
Congratulations.
I mean, I'm kind of just like, I feel like it is what it is. The fact that I feel like he for sure does owe her an apology means that this was a line cross. I do agree that it's not his information to tell. But like, if the situation was just a hair different, for instance, you're not certain, for whatever reason, here's what it is. For whatever reason, he wasn't certain that she would tell him. Right? I mean, that's what the gut feeling to me indicates.
I mean, there is a gut feeling here.
So when I switch the genders of this, and I think, because I guess I'm more trusting of a woman. If I switch the genders to males and I'm like, and I hear like some woman be like, yeah, he's got herpes, so be careful. I'd be like, yeah, I mean, if it's true, it's true. And that's kind of that. Like, it wasn't really cool or it wasn't a bro move, but
the part that feels wrong to me in telling his friend is whether or not it fucks up the trajectory that they were on.
Does it?
But whether or not they were like gonna have something real and knowing that prematurely takes them off.
If it's a deal breaker, it's a deal breaker.
If it's a deal, but would it be a deal breaker 2 months from now? after they get to know each other more and it evolves.
Yeah.
And then we're just
That's
robbing
fair,
this poor girl.
More
and he's robbing this poor girl of true love just because her ex-boyfriend gave her herpes.
She has a stupid, honestly, disease of stigma that truly doesn't even fucking matter.
See? And it could have robbed her and his buddy of a situation that could have evolved to something real. So in that case, it's like none of your business, bro. But also, I get the impulse to want to make sure. I don't know. I mean, I feel like he didn't give her the benefit of the doubt. You know what probably he should have done is texted her and said, total blessing to be hanging out with my buddy. I think he's great. You're great. It would be wonderful. But I hope that you'll tell him if you're going to have sex. I mean, it would have been an uncomfortable thing to say, but he could have said, given her the chance, like to be, and she could have been like, dude, of course, I've already told him. Or she could have said, You know
what? I have a theory. I don't know if it's exculpatory, but it might be explanatory.
Oh.
He said, that's just a matter of different lifestyles, which has a hair of judgment.
Oh, it does.
He doesn't like something about how she lives. That to me feels like maybe she's a party girl or there's something to me about that does feel a little judgy.
Okay.
And I honestly think that I think what it is this is a good one because I think both sides are understandable. The truth is the botch here, really what should have happened here is the friend should have shut the fuck up. He didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't know. Because
Yeah.
I think for most people, if it's a deal breaker today, it's going to be a deal breaker down the road. Right? Because I feel the same way. Like if someone has herpes, I'm not going to sleep with them. But if I love them, I'm not going to not talk to them. And if I love them, I love them. And then, yeah, I will sleep with them. But no way am I going to just casually risk that. That's a little too risky for me.
So it wouldn't be casual sex, but if if you actually fall in love with this person.
Absolutely.
But would you stop yourself from falling in love with this person? Like stop yourself from, if you were, so say it's the beginning. Because they've only started flirting. Like they're heavily flirting.
It might slow it down. But if I had that chemistry with them,
you'd still talk to him.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not going to be I feel like if it's a deal breaker, it's a deal breaker. And if it's not, it's not. And I feel like
treatable. I mean,
it's totally treatable. It's bullshit. It's fucking nothing. I mean, but it's fucking nothing that everybody is stigmatized about. So it still has that response. But it's not really a health issue. It's a joke. But I do think I understand how she reacted. I think her reaction's valid.
100% her reaction's valid.
I think this could have been hidden by the friend, and that was a botch on his part. I think he had no good reason to disclose this information. I think in a situation where you're unsure, then it becomes, we almost need a new verdict for this because it's like, I'm more loyal to you than some random guy that I know, right? Like say I know some random guy has herpes. It doesn't even really fucking matter if he's going to be super pissed at me. I'm telling you because I care about you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's almost like, is it making an asshole or is it just revealing who you care about more?
I think that you're onto something that the dude, the bro, he should have not fucking went and told her. Oh, so you have herpes?
Yes,
were you going to tell me?
Just don't say that.
I mean, unless we don't have enough information, like maybe they already slept together. And he went and talked to her because he's
she's pretty flirty.
Yeah.
That's all he says. I have a buddy who's
we don't know.
Flirty.
But now we know that the buddy talked to the girl and told her.
Yeah, he's a bonehead for doing that.
He's a bonehead. He should have either that's his ceiling and he's not going to go through it, or in which case he doesn't even have to, doesn't have to be the reason he stops talking to her.
Yeah.
I agree. He should not have told her. But maybe this dude could have been a little bit more sly about how to tell his friend.
He could have not told. He had no good reason to think that she wouldn't tell the friend. She told him. Correct. After all. I feel like she displayed that she was reasonable. Mm-hmm. And I think what this was it was a bridge burner. Mm-hmm. I think her reaction is fair. I'm like, yeah, you burn that bridge. AITA for telling a friend about another friend's STD. Ultimately, I am at, without any good reason to do this. He had no reason to think that she would obscure it. I am at YTA, but I'm like, yeah, YTA, this is a bridge burner move. And if your friend's well-being or whatever, your friend's version of the stigma is worth it to you, then that's kind of what's at stake here. But it is an asshole move.
I think it's a YTA to her, for sure. It's a
AITA for telling a friend about another friend's STD. So the OP.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's the asshole to her.
He's the asshole.
Yeah. Well, to her, but not to his friend.
Yeah. Well, he's the asshole in the situation.
Yeah.
Is what's meant. So we agree.
I guess so.
You guess so.
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he is. But I also feel the same way. Like if I knew you were hanging out with somebody who, you know, had something, and I guess maybe part of the gut instinct is he's not sure she's going to tell him. And there could be something embedded there with the like
lifestyle.
You know? So, but yeah, I think facts that we have, YTA.
Bridge burning. It's a thing, people. Alliances come out. All right. We're going to wrap things up on this flower one. AITA for sending flowers to my sister anonymously, upsetting her husband.
What?
I am 37. I've always been close to my sister, F35. We talk regularly, and during one such convo, she told me she's been feeling depressed and overwhelmed. As we were talking, I could feel she was holding back tears.
Oh.
I decided to do something nice. I contacted a florist, got some flowers, had them delivered. I wrote a note that said, thinking of you. This was to her work. A few hours later, the florist called me up and told me a man has been calling them nonstop and demanding they tell him who sent his wife flowers. They tried to explain it was against their policy to reveal that information. There is flower HIPAA. Don't forget flower HIPAA. But the man wouldn't take no for an answer. Ooh. He became so aggressive and threatening over the phone.
Damn.
The shop called me up and asked my permission to reveal the name of the sender to the man.
Whoa.
That man was my brother-in-law. Turns out sister had called her husband and thanked him for the flowers. He told her he hadn't sent any flowers and accused her of having an affair.
Whoa. Accused her of having an affair.
He believed her affair partner had sent them to her, which is why he called the florist like a lunatic, demanding names. Now my sister is more depressed than ever.
Oh, dear.
And she's been fighting with my brother-in-law ever since. My friends think I should have included my name on the card. Had I done that, they say this blow-up would have never happened. I say it's my brother-in-law to blame, as he was the one who can't control his temper. AITA.
I think she knew what she was doing. I think she secretly thinks that sis is depressed because she's with maybe an aggressive man, and she was trying to I don't know. I just don't think you do that by mistake. I don't think you do this by mistake. I think she's setting a trap to uncover his toxic aggroness.
Oh my!
You seem shocked.
God. I just didn't have that occur to me that OP. It's ringing though. I'm with you.
I mean, why else would she do this? 100%. That's
anonymous flowers are a work of terrorism.
Anonymous flowers to a married woman, and then just setting her sister up.
Well, wait a second. No, you know what, Kona? Let me try to counter you on this. Isn't it true, though, that not all flowers are the same? Ladies and gentlemen of the
red
jury.
Roses?
I purchased.
Were they yellow
lilies?
Was
that stated?
No, we didn't say.
I purchased flowers yesterday for 2 friends.
Okay.
And it was for both of them, 2 women. And I said, put it together. It's a friendly, congratulatory floral bouquet. Would that not impact your view?
I think the kind of flowers... they do depend. Red roses are very classically
red roses are
romance.
Forget it. Then
if
we
they're
would
red
have
roses,
no case.
she didn't. It doesn't say red roses. But it also doesn't say lilies or something. I don't know, something
right.
Innocent. I think that she had to know what she was doing. She had to know what she was doing to send anonymous flowers. Maybe I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was like, it'll make my sister happy to think that she has an admirer. Maybe that's why she did it anonymously. She's like, it'll make her happy. But doesn't she, if she thinks, it sounds like she already knows, talk about implication here. She already knows that her sister's husband has a temper, has some jealousy, rage issues. So if she already knows that, then she would 100% know that setting her sister up to have an admirer even would evoke some temper and some rage. So I feel like she must have wanted the sister to see that rage And like as a way to be like, look at who you're with. You know, maybe this is the root of the sister's depression. And that would
be asshole behavior.
Oh, yeah.
Because that, even if the husband is a toxic piece of shit, which let's face it,
there's
some evidence
there.
This is really, really throwing in, you know, a crazy external factor that it like setting off someone's rage is not cool.
No, especially directed to your sister. It's very manipulative. It's incredibly manipulative. I think the sister knew what she was doing. Even if her intention was to just make her sister feel like she was being thought of, it's manipulative. And
he's male 37.
Okay.
I thought it was a woman. So this is not the person who sent the flowers was a guy.
Oh, it's the brother.
It's her brother.
It's a brother, not a sister.
That doesn't change anything. But for me, it is a little more plausible just from what I know about males that he would be like, well, oh, shit.
Okay, that it was just oblivious.
Yeah.
It feels less manipulative that it's a man.
Well, not less manipulative. No, it's the same manipulative. I guess I just feel like
intentionally manipulative.
Men can be a little bit more inept and not understand the social nuances of what this is. I mean, I don't think that's going to let this guy off the hook remotely. I think he's 37. I think he has the brain power to be like, well, if I do this, then what could possibly result? And he should have thought about it. And I think what you're saying still.
But why are they still fighting about it? That's a question. They're still fighting about it. So couple hours after the flowers come, husband blows up.
Yeah.
She's like, thank you for the flowers. Why would she do that if she was cheating on you, you fucking asshole? Like the husband sounds like kind of a dick. Why would she call you and thank you if there was any chance it was somebody else?
I mean, because she's putting up the facade. I don't really think that's...
I mean, I don't know. Well, just that, shit, Penny.
So I cut you off. That's my bad.
Okay.
You were season 36 I'll send you flowers. You were season 3645 writes ESH. I'm not sure how anyone thinks sending anonymous flowers to a married woman would end up well. You're 37, old enough to know better. Sister thinks husband did nice things for her. Turns out he did not. Who did? Why didn't you sign the card? Yeah, why didn't you sign the card?
I mean, unless there was some reason of wanting her to think she had an admirer or something.
Exactly.
Or wanting to set off the bomb of her husband's jealousy because he secretly thinks that's why she's depressed.
You signed the card. There's no way.
You signed the card. Why would you not sign the card? Let your sis know it's you. But let's think about the husband for a second. 3 hours after the flowers happen. Wife calls, says, thank you. He's like, what? That wasn't me, you cheater. And then he's calling like a maniac to the flower company, threatening them so violently that they and say, we have to violate our HIPAA.
Our flower HIPAA, FIPA.
FIPA. And then, okay, within 3-4 hours tops, it's settled. The flower people say, no, that was your sister, your wife's brother sending this.
Yeah.
At that point, he should be like, okay, sorry I blew up. I just love you so much. And the thought of you being with somebody else kills me. Yeah. It's kind of shitty that your brother didn't put his name on it. It really gave me a scare. But that scare just makes me realize how much I appreciate my relationship with you. And then it's over. Why are they still fighting about it?
Because it's complicated. That's what I think. I think you're right. This person goes on to say what you basically just said. I have a feeling sister is depressed because of him.
Yeah.
I think Downtown Goose writes, I think it depends on his intent. If he was genuinely trying to make a nice gesture, NTA. If he was trying to be incendiary, then YTA. So I think that this is complicated. Mm-hmm. And even though I do think the husband's reaction here was wildly inappropriate, I'm like, so let me understand let's just go to what we know about OP. You fucking did this thing. You fucked with their relationship. Mm-hmm. That's team. They're a team. Mm-hmm. So in a sense, sister is cheating. Yes, that is emotional cheating. Something is not cooked here.
With the brother?
Yes. The fact that the brother would do this is a boundary cross.
Yeah.
You are interfering with that relationship. And I have a feeling it's not the first time. I think, and that's probably
like Game of Thrones situation.
Absolutely. Well, everything, I mean, it's very rare. I feel like a lot of people don't hear me when I say this because with time, I think you realize things almost never, people never do anything once. They really don't. That's very, very unusual. If there's a tremendous change, sometimes that can happen. But usually when people do shit, it's because they've done a lot of similar shit prior. And I'm the man who does this, who sends flowers for terrorism. And then, I didn't do anything wrong. I read it. Am I the asshole? It's like, you knew what you were fucking doing.
Yeah.
You were sowing discontent. You were interfering with this relationship in ways that are not appropriate. There's a reason why flowers are associated with cheating either way. I even think it might have been inappropriate if the sister said, yeah, my brother sent me flowers. The husband goes, really? Because you know who should be sending her flowers? Her fucking husband. So he might be a piece of shit. I don't like what he did, but OP is not getting off the hook because this is not a good way to help your sister with her toxic relationship.
Yeah, I agree. Regardless of what's happening in their marriage, OP should not have sent flowers.
He shouldn't have sent flowers.
Or he definitely shouldn't have sent them anonymously.
To me, that is what it's beyond question that he is a problem and there's a level of unhinged.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe he's one of these guys that have nobody else and he's just totally codependent on his sister.
Exactly.
And that's what's making her depressed. Who knows?
And that might be part of why the husband is so unsettled and so angry. Yeah. Now, the fact that he became threatening, he crossed a lot of lines for me where I'm like, he needs to grow up too. Yeah. That's not appropriate. You can be firm. Yeah. It sounds like he's crossed well into, legally, threatening.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, actually, that's what happened was apparently, so OP's reporting he became so aggressive and threatening over the phone. I kind of feel like what he said was, you're going to tell me.
Yeah.
Because really, don't you think if you call the flower shop and you're like, I'll kill you, the flower shop would be like, we're calling the police, sir. Yeah. You can't threaten to kill us. I kind of feel like if he actually threatened the flower shop,
it would have been escalated.
Well, yeah, that actually wouldn't have worked because the flower shop would have been like, actually, you're definitely not going to hurt us because we're definitely going to call the police on you right now. Yeah. I actually feel like the husband must have been kind of reasonable, right? If he goes so unreasonable, they wouldn't have complied.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Or you think they got bullied into it? What do you think is more likely?
I think the implication is there that, and this is also, we're getting this from OP's perspective. So, it could be that the flower shop said he insisted. Can we please give it to you? And then what OP's relaying is he made violent threats. Like, I mean, the fact is they have their own marriage. They have their own situation. And brothers should not be interfering.
This is a principle that I learned from this pod, not of my own accord. Somebody said, and I think it's true. If someone is in a toxic thing, let's just assume all the worst here, there is no benefit to fucking with the toxic person.
To make it worse.
That'll just make it worse.
Yeah,
that'll just 100%. Make it worse. That's not the way to help.
Yeah, agreed.
AITA for sending flowers to my sister anonymously, upsetting her husband. I think we agree. It is... Well, then wouldn't it be everyone sucks here because we're sad?
I don't think the wife necessarily sucks.
So the everyone's would be the husband, and the OP,
and the OP suck for sure.
I think we're going.
Well, assuming that we can believe the OP's perspective about the husband, but yes, for sure the OP sucks, and probably everybody sucks.
I think I'm ready to assume that the husband is shitty because I do feel like the sister. Here's the thing: the most healthy, normal reaction would have been like, I really need an explanation for this, babe.
Who's sending you flowers?
Who sent you those flowers?
Yeah.
I feel like just even demanding from the flower shop over and over. No, honestly, God, you know what? I'm struggling. But also I'm ready to lay it all on OP because I'm like, bro, like even if like this was fucked up.
It was fucked up of him. And also, I mean, like, there's a lot of things implied about their relationship not being great, the marriage, because she's already depressed. The fact that he can't just believe his wife, whatever she tells him, and has to go to the flower shop. Like, there's some controllingness there. But it comes down to the fact that 100% the OP was in the wrong for sending anonymous flowers.
Yeah.
YTA. Motherfucking A.
I'm excited to hear what you guys think about that.
Yeah.
It's definitely a juicy
So
one.
they're all assholes.
No, we just said YTA.
No, I mean like all three scenarios this episode. I don't think I've ever experienced.
AITA for telling a friend about
asshole,
it. Yeah, we said YTA.
Asshole.
AITA for laughing at my sister's relationship troubles. Did we say YTA on that? We said soft YTA?
We said
soft YTA.
Oh, it was the soft? Or
well,
maybe we said NTA.
They could have been more. I didn't feel like the laughing itself was it, but they just weren't. Yeah, they weren't very helpful.
They're not being supportive.
All assholes.
Wow.
Well,
what's this world coming to, Danny?
It's bad. I mean, on a subreddit, it mostly goes not the asshole. We really found it in ourselves.
All right. Well, hopefully the next episode will be a little more cheerful.
There we go. Thanks for listening, guys. Much love. See you next time.
Peace.
Bye.